All right, joining me now, Mollie Hemingway, the Federalist editor-in-chief, and Ben Domenech, Spectator editor-at-large. Both are Fox News contributors. Mollie, now, when you go back and listen to what Amanpour and so forth have been saying that, oh, the press freedom's under attack, what do Americans really need to remember about the press and the Biden and Obama people?
Right. It's actually important to have a free and functioning press that reports accurately and honestly about the news of the day. It is integral to a functioning republic. We have not had that probably for decades in most newsrooms, where they have become not merely biased like we talked about in the 1980s or 1990s, but they're just completely corrupt and engaged in state propaganda on behalf of the regime. They are a threat to the republic, and press freedoms are important, but we haven't had a functioning press covering the Biden administration, and they did a horrible job during the Trump administration as well. Well, Ben, I mean, the president today, when you watch this press conference, he seems like he's dropped all, if people thought, oh, he has a chip on his shoulder, which I never thought was the case, but he just seems so confident and he's in his groove and he's heard it all before. And that was in and of itself great to see in comparison to what we've seen with Biden.
Well, Laura, I think what you saw is that we've spent the last 6 months effectively without a president of the United States who could be considered a commander-in-chief in any real way. And so the reason that the former and future president is hitting the ground running in so many different respects, not just achieving, certain things like he was announcing today, but also achieving, I think, really a movement toward him on the part of America's allies and countries around the world, is because people have basically gone through a 6-month period when America really was leaderless, had no one who was in charge. And so the instant it became clear that he was going to be in charge again, people started moving quickly. And that's what we're seeing right now. It means that he's going to hit the ground running in his new administration. And his relationship with the press, while I think is going to be adversarial as it was the first time around, is not going to be perhaps as lunatic as it was at certain junctures, in part because I think the press is just flabbergasted at how much they've gotten wrong over the past several years. This has been a real eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people. The idea that Jeff Bezos, for instance, would crack down on his own editorial page at the Washington Post and say, no, we're not going to deal in this insanity anymore, and even in the direction that would result in backlash from his own writers and opinion makers. I think that's something that we didn't see the first time around, and we're going to see a lot more of it this time around.
Mollie, we learned very late today, right before the show came on the air, that Judge Juan Merchan has ruled that Trump's hush money conviction can go forward. He doesn't have presidential immunity for the hush money convictions. Supreme Court immunity doesn't cover that. So presumably, after he completes his 4 years in office, we'll be back at that. That's what the left has learned here. One of the worst legacies of the Biden era has been destroying rule of law in this country, using courts to go after political opponents to settle things that should be settled at the ballot box. And it's a horrible contrast between Biden and really all other presidents that he did so much in this area. It's true that this press conference today didn't just show Trump sort of reaching through space and time to govern, even though he's not yet president. We're seeing in these recent weeks, everyone's treating him as the president. That's a contrast with Biden. But it's also a contrast with the impotent and feckless Republican Party leadership that is on its way out. Donald Trump is showing the Republican Party what it looks like to win, what it looks like to be a leader who gets things done. And he's had to drag a bunch of the party alongside with him. But it's a really striking difference, not just with the Biden administration, but also with that sort of Bush era, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, Liz Cheney, loser style of the Republican Party. Yeah,
even dramatic contrast.
Yeah, even Romney had to say yesterday on one of the Sunday shows, well, yeah, he basically made the party. He basically remade the party, and he's taken on the old establishment. And he said a bunch of things, Ben, that Mollie, you and I have been saying for, I don't know, 8 years. Romney finally kind of admitted.
It was gratifying.
Finally kind of admitted, well, he won, finally.
Yeah, I think it was very gratifying to hear that actually from Mitt Romney, because it's undeniable. But it's also, I think, an indication of, so many different mistakes that were made. I mean, Mitt Romney will be forever tied to that post-2012 autopsy that essentially told everyone to go in the opposite direction than the direction that Donald Trump ultimately took the party in 2016. And obviously that autopsy was about a party that was dead. And I think that Mitt Romney acknowledging that is actually a good thing and a healthy thing for the GOP moving forward. We'll see, though, if that attitude remains as Donald Trump actually advances his agenda in the ways that I think we all expect him to do.
Well, Mollie, you said it well. I mean, you got the old GOP dinosaurs still lumbering about the scenery here. So, you got McConnell saying, well, I'm going to do a preemptive strike against, I guess, Trump's Ukraine policy. So he's not with the on the Trump train when it comes to foreign policy, clearly.
Well, and he said before the election, in the height of the election, at a time where it was not very helpful to say this, Mitch McConnell said that after the election, he planned to fight Republicans more than Democrats. I don't think he or a lot of people in that old Republican Party expected the election to go quite the way it did, not just with the decisive victory of Trump, but also with the popular vote win and really getting this mandate and excitement in the American people. They're just sick of the way things have been done in Washington, D.C. and that decline that they've seen under the old leadership.
All right, Mollie and Ben, if I don't see you, have a great Christmas, and thank you for all your great contributions over the last...
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.